Philadelphia Eagles Now is presented by True Classic Tees. 2023 is well underway here in the second week of January. It's time to add to your closet with some really nice menswear. 25% off your entire order for the Fly Eagles Fly family if you use the promo code CHAT at trueclassictees.com/chat. We'll tell you more about them coming up later on today's show. So, going to be really a free-flowing show in which I just want to get to all of the happenings with the Birds here. Kind of a unique week with the bye week. You can tell that the fan excitement has taken a back seat because they're just taking a breather like the Eagles are, waiting to see who the Birds will play in the divisional round after they locked up that number one seed, and home field advantage will go through Lincoln Financial Field in South Philadelphia. I do think that what the Eagles have done this year isn't really taken into account and appreciated by a lot of people. Most wins in franchise history. One of the most explosive offenses that we've ever seen the Eagles have, as evidenced by the fact that the Eagles, the only team in the NFL this year to have 3 players with 1,100 plus scrimmage yards. Really special, talented players on this team. That list includes A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, Devontae Smith. And the trade of A.J. Brown reaped massive dividends for Philadelphia. He had nearly 1,500 yards. Miles Sanders had a career year, nearly 1,400 rushing yards. And Devontae Smith broke the record for the most catches for a wide receiver in franchise history and had nearly 1,200 yards from scrimmage. And this Eagles offense, as long as Jalen Hurts is healthy, and they can get back to finding that mojo, finding that rhythm, they can be a serious problem. In the NFC, and then hopefully they get to Glendale, Arizona, play for the Super Bowl, and they go up against an AFC team that will find it to be a very tall task to stop this Eagles offense. But this is what we know. Last couple of weeks, this Eagles offensive unit has sputtered a little bit. Now, that's a byproduct of Jalen Hurts being out, and then last week against the Giants, him being injured. But the Eagles offense needs the bye week to get healthy. That's become clear, and they need to recapture the offensive momentum and the offensive footing that they had. A healthy Jalen Hurts and a healthy Lane Johnson should certainly help this football team. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, an injury update for him. Nick Sirianni did speak today at the NovaCare Complex, even though the Eagles don't play until next weekend. He said, look, going into this game against New York, we knew that Hurts would be hurting like hell. He said that verbatim. He came out sore. Can't say if he's going to play hurt for the rest of the way, but he did say we have 2 weeks. And again, going back to last week's game, that's why it was so imperative for Philadelphia to get that bye week, because Hurts needs to get healthy. Offense ain't the same without him, obviously. There's a reason he's an MVP candidate, and the offense also needs to get Lane Johnson healthy. So to have this week off to refresh, reset, maybe look back at some of the tape to find out ways in which you can get this offense humming once again, going to be big for this team. And again, the 2-week break, huge for the recovery process. Shoulders, nothing to mess with a quarterback. And this is an injury where if he gets crunched on that shoulder again, is it going to re-aggravate? Is it going to prohibit him from maybe making some clutch throws late? We saw early in the game, made a couple of zip throws to A.J. Brown that I thought the arm looked really good, but then late the accuracy kind of waned a little bit. Is that because that soreness started to set in? Something to, of course, watch out for when the Eagles get back in action. As for more Eagles injury news, and this is obviously really important to the defensive side of the ball, Josh Sweat looks as though he's going to be able to return. Nick Sirianni said he is hopeful that Sweat will be back for the divisional round, and Sweat is, quote, trending in the right direction. He's had a career year with sack production, double digits. Hassan Reddick, double digits. Brandon Graham, double digits. Javon Hargrave, double digits. Fletcher Cox also coming through with great sack production. That is a pillar and a foundational level of how you build a football team to have sustained success all throughout the year. Most importantly, though, in the playoffs. When other teams are going to try to air it out, they can't air it out. And a good quarterback out there won't have time to survey the field, pick apart this Eagles defense if they get home with that pass rush. Obviously, getting back Josh Sweat is massive. Now, today's show, as I mentioned, is presented by True Classic Tees, menswear for men of all shapes and sizes. 2022 is in the rear view. 2023 is here. It starts to add a great element to your wardrobe with True Classic Tees. Really good material, and I really like their t-shirts. I also like their golf polos, which is the one that I'm rocking here, but they have athletic wear too. That is phenomenal because it's got that stretchy material that is also very, very durable. And for our Fly Eagles Fly family, 25% off your entire order if you head to trueclassictees.com/chat. We're going to put this link in the comment section and the description of this video. Dad bods, True Classic has you covered. Rip bods, you know they got you. Your average Joe, yes sir. 25% off trueclassic.com/chat, promo code chat plus. If you spend $100, you get free shipping included on those purchases. New year, new me, new tees. Thanks to True Classic. They also other items outside of just shirts, dress shirts, golf polos, t-shirts, but also shorts, sweatpants, pants as well. Again, that link in the comment section and the description of this video. Now to some Eagles coaching news here. Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, continuing to get looks for NFL head coaching opportunities. The Texans, Colts, Panthers have all submitted interview requests for Shane Steichen. And when you're running a franchise right now in the modern placement of the NFL, what do you look for and what's the common trend? And why Steichen fits that mold is such. He's 37 years old. He's young. Check that box. He's an offensive mind. Check that box. He actually calls the plays. Teams like offensive coordinators who have play calling experience. So you can check that box as well. This offense for Philadelphia, this year, last year more run heavy, this year more pass happy, has been dynamic and in terms of the numbers, historic. And there have been massive strides that we've seen with Jalen Hurts and his quarterback development. Now, part of that is because of Nick Sirianni. Part of it is because of quarterbacks coach Brian Johnson. Also, though, because of Shane Steichen calling the plays, putting the offense in a position to succeed. And if the Eagles make a deep run and Steichen's the one in the headset, he's the one calling the plays, other teams will think that he's viable to be a head coaching candidate for their respective franchise. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because if Steichen gets hired, Jonathan Gannon, who we're about to talk about, if he gets hired, or if a big move out there happens, a signing, a trade, big rumor, big report, we have it covered here on Eagles Now. A little less than 1,000 people away from 40,000 subscribers. Let's get there by the end of the football season. Panthers set to interview Frank Reich. He is a great coaching candidate, in my opinion. Obviously, he was the OC for Doug Peterson with Philadelphia during that Super Bowl run. And if Steichen leaves, and if Frank Reich can't get a job, and the Eagles lose Steichen and or Brian Johnson, bring in Frank Reich. I mean, Nick Sirianni said today that he tries to set his coaches up for success like Reich did for him when Sirianni got interviewed by Philadelphia after Doug Peterson was let go. And Sirianni likes to take the same approach. And if Frank Reich, who I think is a very good coach out there, Andrew Luck retired on him. He had to wash Phillip Rivers and still made it to the playoffs and won, 10, 11 games that year. And then Carson Wentz was terrible. This year, that franchise is abysmal. Shouldn't have gotten fired. He's a quality head coach who's won a lot of games. If he can't get a gig out there, and I do think that he is going to, I think that the Eagles should bring him in as an offensive coordinator. Because when you lose OCs and DCs like Steichen as well as Jonathan Gannon, who also has several interview opportunities out there, the lack of stability within your coaching staff and the turnover there can cost you the next year because you're implementing a new scheme. You're not seeing eye to eye maybe with the play caller if you're Jalen Hurts, and maybe that coordinator isn't as talented as a guy who's now a head coach for a different organization out there. So I'd love Frank Reich. Another option, elevate Brian Johnson. Great quarterback work at Florida. He's worked with Dak Prescott in the past. He has that relationship with Jalen Hurts. If he doesn't get a gig elsewhere, OC calling the plays, how about you call the plays for Philadelphia this year? As for Jonathan Gannon, if Gannon leaves to get a head coaching job elsewhere, hire Vic Fangio. He's already on this staff as a consultant. He's currently on the payroll. A lot of teams, many of them, several of them across the NFL are using the nuances from his famous defense, and that's what you see, the fingerprints of it all across the NFL right now. And I think that he'd be a little bit more aggressive than Jonathan Gannon, which is what this city wants. Gannon, who runs those quarters and sometimes doesn't get aggressive enough, especially on those third and longs. I'm not sure you'd have to worry about that with Vic Fangio. He does have links to Sean Payton, and if Payton gets a job somewhere, Fangio is rumored to maybe follow him, which would make a really good coaching staff. But let's say Sean Payton goes to the Denver Broncos. Vic Fangio is just fired by the Denver Broncos. He's not going to go back to Denver to be the DC. That would be an awkward situation. Vic Fangio is from Dunmore, the neighboring town to Scranton. He has Pennsylvania roots, of course, an ideal replacement for Jonathan Gannon. So that is the latest Eagles news and rumors on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Appreciate all of you for joining the show and watching us. Make sure you give me a follow on social media at Chase_Senior, Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll be live on Thursday. Can't wait for it. And until then, fly Eagles fly.